Ohio Virtual Academy sent you guys all a science box. In this science box, you have materials to make actual circuits. You can use these with this material that we're studying in Unit 5. Let's take a look at what K12's science box has for you so that you can use this materials to make circuits of your own. So we're going to take a moment to look at all of the different parts in here. And then after we do that, I will go ahead and show you how to use these materials and hook everything up to replicate the circuits that you're seeing in class. Look inside the science materials that K12 sent you, and you need to find 4 sets of things. You want to find the lamp receptacles. There are 2 of them in here, 2 yellow ones in mine. You want to find the box of lamp bulbs. You are going to need to find the D-cell battery holder, and you also want to find this packet of wires that you have. So those are the 4 items or 4 packets that you need to find from your K12 kit to start making circuits. There's going to be one more thing that you will need to get before you can start to make circuits. You'll notice that we have a battery pack like this in our kit, but there's a problem. You guys see what's missing? We have no batteries. And it tells you in here what kind of batteries you need. So if you look inside of it, get that in the camera right there, it says size D or equivalent. You'll need 2 size D batteries if you want to be building them on your own. Size D batteries are the huge chunky batteries like this. I ordered mine on Amazon, but you can get them in any store. I just did this because, of course, with the pandemic, it's a lot easier for me to order things into my house, and these are the cheapest batteries I could find. But again, any D batteries will work, and you just need 2 of them. They often come in a pack with more than 2, but your holder only needs 2 of them. I'm going to start first with how to use the battery holder. So let's take a look at this. We have these 2 wires coming out. The metal part, this is where it's conductive. That's what we're going to be attaching to the other wires. You might want to make this a little longer. Now to do that, what we have to do is we want to cut through this, the insulation or the plastic on the outside of the wire without cutting the inside of the wire. You can use scissors or nail clippers to do this. You just want to carefully try to cut through that without actually getting into the wire and cutting the wire. And it can take a little work because these ones seem to have really, as you can see, really strong insulation on the outside. I'm going to keep working my way around. I'm just kind of tugging, there we go, tugging with the scissors. And once you get it sliced through, you can kind of see that right there. See how I've pulled this? You just want to pull that extra piece of plastic off the end. And that can be a little tricky to do, but that is the goal. There we go, is to pull that off. And I just want this to be longer because I find that it's a lot easier to work with electric wire like this when you have more to work with. So I did that on the red cable. And reds often, you'll notice, are positive when we talk about things. And then I'm also going to do this with the black cable. Just carefully cut all the way around. See if I got it. I think I actually got that one a little easier. And then you just want to, after you cut all the way around it, just pull it off. And that's the first thing I would do to your battery holder. And we'll be doing that with the white wires as well. It just makes it a lot easier to work with because we have now extra wire on the end. And if at any point these break as we're working, you can always do that again. It'll just make our wires a little shorter, but we can do that as needed if these wear out. The second thing we need to do for our battery holder is we need to get our batteries in. So we need to know about positive and negative terminals on batteries. So the electrons, the negative charge, always comes out of the negative end of our battery. That's why it has a negative symbol right there. And it's really important that we line up our circuit properly because the electrons all have to flow in the same direction. If they don't, it'd be like being on the freeway or a road having cars driving. the wrong way in the wrong lane of traffic. They'll run into each other, there'll be a big electron crash, and your circuit won't work. So whenever we use a battery holder, we want to look and see where the positives and negatives are. The positive side generally is going to hook up to our red wire, and you can see that that's true inside of here. You can see a positive there on this end with our red wire. Negatives often in battery operated items have a spring, so let's just pop that first battery in like that. And then this battery connects the negative terminal to the other side, and it's going to be to the positive. And that way we have a loop here. And you need to just make sure, it looked like mine stuck a little bit, make sure that your battery has good contact with the connections on each side. The spring side, that's pretty easy. The positive side, make sure it's pressed up all the way because your spring might be a little tight and it might not pop up all the way. And that's that. Now we have a positive coming out there and a negative coming out on the other end, which makes sense based on where our batteries are. So we've accomplished the first thing, setting up our battery holder. Okay, you remember what we just did to the wires that we had in our battery holder. We need to do the same thing to the wires here, but they don't start any of these for us. So right now we have nowhere to connect these. You can see we have a really thick insulation on these. That's the white part, and the little dot in the middle is our wire. So for each of our cables, you'll want to go through and make them probably about a 1/2 inch of wire is probably enough. You can take scissors again or nail clippers. They'll work. Most of us don't have wire strippers at home, so just cut around the outside. And I like to, again, kind of pull. I'm just kind of moving my scissors this way as I do this. I do a little cut, and then I try to pull, and then I try to cut, and then I try to pull until I start to see a gap. I see one starting to form on here, but it looks like we're not all the way through. And remember, we're going to need to do this for every wire we want to use on both sides. You can kind of rock your scissors like this, twist the wire around. There we go. I think you can see my wire shining through. So let's see if I try to pull that off. Can I get it off now? And it is pretty hard to pull because the coating is always on these really well. Keep the wire safe. There we go. So there's our first one. And we're going to want to do this so that we have an uncoated wire on all the different ends. So you'll just want to go through and do this on all of your white wires, cut through. And then you'll get a little faster as you go because you'll get a feel for how thick the coating is on the wire, the insulation that we have to remove. And once you know that, it'll be a little easier for you to know how to do this without, there we go, without cutting the wire on the inside. So there we go, there's 2 done. So we want to go ahead and do this with all of the pieces of wire that we have in this kit so that we have them all ready.